Howdy everybody, welcome back to Combo Compendium. This week we're taking another look at Centur-Ion. I made a little video about Centur-Ion back when it first came out, and the deck's gotten a lot of new support since then, and it's been getting a little bit of hype lately because it's a deck that's really good at playing into both of the Mulchummies and also has plays under Shifter as well. So thanks to the reprints, also a lot of people are picking up the deck, so I've also done the same. Figured I would go ahead and make a quick little kind of combo compendium update for Centur-Ion with the new support. Now the biggest thing is going to be this new level 8 Synchro, which opens up a lot of new possibilities for this deck. So I'm going to go over it real quick. Can't be destroyed by battle unless it was special summoned from the extra deck. That effect comes up a lot for Tenpai matchup, not much else anywhere else. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add an Emblema card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy 2 cards, 1 on each field. And then if a face-up Centurion card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon it. So the main thing is that it searches an Emblema card, which the deck could not do before. And Emblema Oath is a really strong card, especially with Centur-Ion Autry, which came out in the set beforehand. And that card lets you draw a card every turn if you have an Emblema and a Centur-Ion engrave. So, thanks to both of these cards, this deck has a pretty crazy draw engine now just built into the archetype, which is great because this deck has a lot of non-engine space. Drawing cards with a lot of non-engine means you draw a lot of hand traps. I'm going to go through all of the 1-card combos again, just like my last video, because the deck has a lot of 1-card starters. So let's start with Primera here. Now a lot of this stuff's going to look pretty familiar if you know anything about Centur-Ion. So we're going to normal out this Primera, we're going to search for our stand-up, and then we can activate the stand-up, pitch a card out of our hand to put Trudea in the spell trap zone. We can use Trudea to special, and then use Trudea's on-field effect to put it in the back row, and Gargoyle in the back row. Next, we're going to summon out this Gargoyle, and we're going to make it a level 4, alright? You want to make it a level 4, so that we can make the Synchro 8. Now we're going to go Chainlink 1 the Primus, and then Chainlink 2 the Gargoyle. So you can actually chain block this effect to search, which is pretty nice. This deck really doesn't have a whole lot of places for your opponent to Ash. Primera is probably the biggest one. So if they don't use Ash on Primera, you can chain block the Primus, so they miss their timing to use Ash on this as well. But Primus is going to go ahead and search out our Emblema Oath. We can then use that Oath to get Autry. Now again, Autry's effect is that it can be a tuner and a non-tuner, which is really good. If it's normal or special summoned and you have an Emblema card and a Centurion card in your graveyard, you can draw a card. Which is great, because being able to search out the Emblema Oath means you're always going to have both. So every time you summon this, you're going to draw a card. Right, so we can summon it out here, draw our first card, and then we can Synchro 12 into Auxilla. Auxilla is going to let us search for any Centur-Ion card, so we're going to grab Wake Up. Now, Wake Up, another kind of new-ish card. It didn't really see much play until now because it's pivotal to some of these new 1-card combos. What it does, if you don't know, is basically you can summon a level 4 or 8 non-tuner token. And then while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to send any Centur-Ion card from your deck to the grave. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use it to summon out this level 4. And then we can use its other effect to send Phalanx. And Phalanx has a graveyard effect where you can banish it to summon a Centur-Ion Synchro from your grave. So, guess what we're going to do? We're going to banish it to summon back our level 8 Primus. And Primus is a tuner, right? So we have a tuner and a non-tuner. So guess what? We can now make very easily a turn 1 Crimson Dragon. Alright, so Crimson Dragon, you can go ahead and tag out into a Blazar. And then during the end phase, you're going to use Auxilla to put this Autry back in the back row. The deck now has very easy 1-card combos to get out a Blazar on turn 1. You know, previously you would kind of just make Auxilla, put 2 guys in the back, and then pass turn, and then make Blazar on the opponent's turn. Now, thanks to these new cards and, you know, playing things like Wake Up and Phalanx, this is kind of the new standard, right? It gives the deck a little bit more oomph going first. And as you can see here, it also makes it super easy to summon both of these out, draw another card, right? So we're going to draw another card off the Autry, and we're going to use the stand up on our opponent's turn to quick synchro. So we get to draw a second card, so we've already, you know, replaced the cards we've started with. And we can use Crimson Dragon again to summon out another level 12 dragon. So you can go for things like a second Blazar. You can go for Red Supernova. Yeah, that's about it for this 1-card combo. Right, and of course you get both of these, and then during your opponent's end phase, you can use Auxilla again to put back like Trudea or something, and Trudea again. Just 1-card combo all over again. Alright, so let me go ahead and just go over the other 1-card combos. Now these all pretty much go through the same motions, right? They just start a little bit different. So for Trudea, you normal it out. You use its effect to put it in Primera. Primera effect adds stand up. And then you use stand up to get access to your Gargoyle. And then from here, I mean, it's just exactly the same as the last combo, right? And then for the stand up, again, starts out a little bit different, but it all does the same thing, right? You stand up, place Primera, Primera special out, search for Trudea, and then you use your normal summon on Trudea. And this gets you it and the Gargoyle, which makes the 8. And then again, that does this same combo that I showed you before, where you get the Auxilla and the Crimson Dragon play on turn 1. Now, the only one that's different is the Oath, right? Because you use the new Primera to search out the Oath. So you have to use Oath early just to access your plays, which means you don't have access to it as an extender later on in your combo. So this is the one card starter that can't really go through the full motions unless you kind of have some other engines in your deck, like the Bystials, things like that. Maybe you can pull it off. But what we're going to do is we're going to use Oath to place the Primera. Primera is going to search Trudea. We're going to normal Trudea, get the Gargoyle. And there's pretty much no reason to make the new level 8 here, because you already used Oath, so there's no reason. So you're just going to keep this as a level 8 and go out into Auxilla, which is going to search us. You can go stand up to then place the Autry, and you can use Autry to draw. And you can summon out Gargoyle by sending this. Now, you could just end on the Auxilla, right? You could end on Auxilla with stand up. But if you want to, you can use these to make Legacia, which draws you another card. And now that you have both of these, you can now get access to both of your back row. And the Legacia draws you a card. So you get 2 draws. You get both of these in the back row. And then you can go for the Blazar play on your opponent's turn after drawing a 3rd card, right? So the Oath 1-card combo is a little bit different. It's a lot harder to go for the Primus combos unless you have some other means in your hand. But a board like this is still fine, right? I mean, drawing 3 cards, you should have 6 cards in hand at this point. So you're basically playing hand trap control, and you still get the Blazar. So, I mean, It's not as fancy as the other 1-card combos, but it still gets the job done just fine. So now I'm going to go over a quick example of weaving the Bystials into the combos, because I think the Bystials really are the best way to play this deck as a sub-engine. Not only because Regained is a broken card, the Bystials are very good extenders for the deck. Autry being a secondary tuner alongside Primera gives you access to a lot more synchro plays, and you know, Lubellion's level 8, so you can use it as a level 8 body for level 12s, and all of the Bystials are level 6s, which opens up your access to your level 10 synchros like Chaos Angel and Dispotter and things like that. Alright, we're just going to do the basic Trudea combo here. Now in the past, Gargoyle is a level 8 Dark Dragon. So normally you would discard Lubellion here to search for like Magnamut or something. And then you would tribute this Gargoyle to summon Lubellion from grave and make a level 12 like Auxilla. But of course that doesn't go through the level 8 line with Primus, right? And going Primus into Oath into Autry is what gives you that insane draw engine, which, I mean, you really want. You really want that draw engine rolling, so you're constantly flinging out hand traps. So in the past, that's what you would do. You would put Lubellion here, but we want to go for the level 8, so you can't do that if you tribute this Gargoyle for this Lubellion. So we're going to hold this until later, basically. We're going to go for our level 8, search out Oath, and then Oath into Autry. Autry summon out and draw us a card. Use Auxilla to get Wake Up. And then we're basically going to go for the line into Crimson Dragon here. Alright, so we get our Crimson Dragon, we get our Blazar. And once you're in this position, you're basically just going to use Lubellion as a means to put Regained on field. And also get the Magnamut search as well. So you can go Lubellion to grab Magnamut. Magnamut is going to banish this Autry, because we can get it back from banished, so you don't mind just kind of throwing it away there. You could banish Primera instead, but this is the card that we're going to want to set back off of Auxilla. So leaving this Primera in grave potentially lets you do Bystial plays on your opponent's turn if they're not playing a lighter dark deck, right? It makes it so that you don't have to banish either your Primus or your Lubellion for a Bystial. So we're going to get Magnamut effect to search during end phase, summon out the Lubellion to get Regained, and then we can go to end phase, grab our Druis Worm, and Auxilla is going to trigger to summon back this Autry, well, not summon, but place this Autry back from banished, because Auxilla can do banished or in your graveyard. This is what we end on here. We get Regained, we get a draw, we get a Druis Worm, and we get the level 8 body just kind of chill in there, which means we don't necessarily need to use Trudea as a non-tuner. So, right, it's our opponent's turn. Let's say they do something, right? We can go Autry to special. You can also do stuff with Regained as well. And here, you now have access to either a Synchro 12 with Lubellion or a Synchro 10 with Magnamut. Which, of course, if you play Dispotter, it allows you to shuffle back things like your Phalanx and your Wake Up back into the deck in order to destroy a monster. So if for any reason you want to put these back in the deck, you can make a Dispotter here. But otherwise, you can just use Autry to draw, use the field spell to make something like a Crimson Dragon, and then just make another Blazar, because why not? So you get the 2 Blazars. I mean, you got the Regained in rotation. You can also get a 3rd draw off of the Regained as well. So you don't have to necessarily use the Bystials as combo pieces. They can be good combo pieces if you get hand trapped. But if your combo goes uninterrupted, or if you have more Centur-Ion extenders to play through hand traps, you can kind of just hold the Lubellion and use it at the end of your combo once you have the Blazar set up so that, you know, it's protected. So there's multiple different ways to use the Bystials. I prefer to kind of go through the whole line with Wake Up and Phalanx and the level 8, and then just kind of use these cards as like an advantage engine rather than like combo pieces. But that's the beauty of Yu-Gi-Oh! You can do it however you want, right? It's all up to you. So now I will very quickly go over the ways that this deck plays under Shifter as well as the Mulchummies. And that's kind of the reason why this deck I think is gonna do well, because it plays under all these degen cards, you know, the Floodgate hand traps. It plays pretty well through all of those, and it's probably the reason I'm gonna play it. You know, if like a regional or something is coming up soon, I'll probably just play Centur-Ion because I really don't want to deal with the Mulchummies and the Shifters, right? So let's say, for example, like this is a game where your opponent has Shifter. Unfortunately, Primera and Stand Up are not one-card combos under Shifter, because Primera needs to search for Stand Up in order to continue the plays. Well, I guess you could also search for Wake Up as well if you have Primera, so I might be talking out of my ass, but yeah, Primera search Wake Up still gets you to the level 12, but after that, it doesn't set up scales, I think, for you to use on your opponent's turn. Whereas Trudea and Oath are one-card 12s under Shifter. So Trudea, we can normal it out and then get the Primera here. Primera Summon, and then this adds Wake Up. So if you start with Primera and add Wake Up, I mean, you don't have access to the Trudea, so you're missing that one extra body to use with the field spell on your opponent's turn. So that's why Primera doesn't work. Right, so this gets you the level 8 tuner that you need, and then this makes Auxilla, which gets you the field spell. Now you can't use the field spell because it has to send one card from your hand to the graveyard as cost. So it specifically mentions the card must go to the grave for cost. So you can't use this under Shifter, but that doesn't mean you can't use the second effect on your opponent's turn to quick synchro. And luckily for us, Auxilla's effect during the end phase lets you put the monster into the back row from the banished pile. So this Trudea, or this Primera that's banished, you are allowed to bring it back. And then this sets up your Crimson Dragon play on the opponent's turn, right? So that's one of the ways the deck plays under Shifter. If you get Perulia'd, your opponent draws one card, so they basically just upstart. If your opponent Fualoses you, you only summoned Auxilla, so they only get one card, so basically it doesn't do anything. This is the board that this deck just used to end on, right? Like before this came out, this is what you ended on. Well, usually with the trap card as well, but you know, under Shifter, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So this isn't bad. You still have 4 cards in hand because you never discarded for stand up, so you have this field plus 4 cards. It's fine. Your opponent's down a card if they Shifter you, so you know, technically you're doing just fine. Now for the Oath under Shifter, it's mostly the same, right? You just get Oath for Trudea, and then Trudea goes up through the full line. So I think Centurion's kind of like the anti-bullshit deck of the format. It's very simple to play. It can play a lot of non-engine. It can play Bystials, which are very powerful right now. And it plays through Shifter and the Mulchummies. So if you're looking for a very simple deck that doesn't really lose to a whole lot, I would highly suggest to pick up Centur-Ion. And the reprints made most of the cards pretty cheap, so I think that's pretty nice. And I think that's pretty much all I have for this video. So let me know if I missed anything. Oh, also, people are playing the Sengenjin Millennium guy, because it's basically level 8 Fenrir. Because if you start with Primera and it gets ashed or impermed, you can use the Sengenjin to summon itself out and search another copy of itself, which lets you make Auxilla to get stand up, and then the second copy of Sengenjin can be used as a discard for stand up. So you're basically just going even through your opponent's hand trap. So that's another card to consider. That's really all I have to say about Centur-Ion. This deck's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, plays well under a lot of stuff. Highly recommend from me. And that's kind of all I have to say, so see ya.